lot of people ask me, why do I spend money and time? Why do I go to weird places and freeze my behind off? Why do I sleep in a tent? Why do I subject myself to all those major discomforts? Why the hell do I bother? In 2005, I had a desk job in a bank. I didn't know how to tie a single knot on the rope. I didn't have any specialist equipment. I didn't know a single mountain guide. I have never climbed, not even scrambled. At the beginning, it was all about the adventure, the physical challenge, the travel. Then it became all about me. At the beginning, the lessons were like slap on the face, like big aha moments. Then they became increasingly subtle, and I'm still discovering them. And I'm sure I will continue to do so throughout my scholarship of life. I strongly believe that you grow as a person, professionally and personally, only when you take yourself away from the comfort zone, from the practiced schedules, places, people, and circumstances. Only when you start dealing with the unknown do you grow. And then you grow as a speed of light. Here is my story. Kilimanjaro. Kilimanjaro is an easy mountain. You had everything carried up for you, everything is set up for you, the mattresses are blown up, fresh popcorn and roasted peanuts await for you at every camp. You just slowly slap forward and upward. I was physically strong, very strong. So I ended up on my own most of every day. That created a space for me, a space to consider life and ask myself some questions. I started a process of self-study. Whilst I was admiring the world's highest standalone volcano, I was graduating emotionally. I decided to be happy from now on. I realized that I'm fully responsible for how I feel, and other people should have nothing to do with it. You can choose not to hand over the control over your emotions to other people. People can only hurt you when you allow them to. You are responsible for your own hurt. You need to own your personal definition of success. It cannot be your mom's, dad's, girlfriends and boyfriends, or boss's expectation of who you should be. Only you know what makes you truly happy. And you need to pluck up the courage to pursue your happiness. Elbrus. When I was going to climb Elbrus, I rented most of the equipment required because I was not sure if this high altitude stuff is for me or not. I was physically the weakest person on that expedition. The other guys pumped it up at the gym every day, ran half marathons before breakfast, and climbed much more serious mountains than me. In comparison, I felt insignificant, underprepared, and totally out of place. I had my down jacket on my rainbreaker. I had woolly, fluffy gloves which got stuck in every piece of equipment required. I had a water bladder which froze immediately after leaving base camp. Embarrassing? I mean, what was the chance of me actually getting to the summit? But I still did. There is no point in comparing yourself to others in any walk of life. We are so wonderfully unique. Every one of us has a different talent. When you compare yourself to others, your self-satisfaction or discontent lasts only as long as the object of your reference is there. Then you meet somebody more beautiful, richer, living in a bigger house, being more experienced, better clothed, and you start feeling diminished again, although nothing has really changed about you. What's the point of trying to keep with the Joneses? I strongly believe that the only worthy point of comparison is your own past. I think that the effort of living is worthwhile only when you look back and see yourself progressing on your own path of life at your own space. Aconcagua. Aconcagua was an altitude test for me. If I ever wanted to consider Mount Everest, I better test it myself at 7,000 meters first. It was also the kind of trip I liked the most. Just trekking, no technical bits. The team was fun. Oh, I also started to raise money, and I knew I wanted to give. The team was fun, and we bonded very quickly, very closely. My nickname was Giggles, as I shared my laughter generously with everybody else. As we went on sharing the tent, the support, medicine, laughter, jokes, the hard work, I learned to give without expecting anything in return. The society made everything exchangeable, tradable, and conditional upon both parties equally participating. We have created the expectations of reward and immediate reciprocation. If you decide to give a compliment, a smile, a spare shirt, your wealth, your last penny, just give. Don't attach any strings. It is your decision to share. So don't expect anything in return, not even a thank you. Mount McKinley, a beautiful and a very tough mountain. I made a significant personal investment as I bought all the required equipment. You carry over half of your body weight on your back, and you pull a sled with 30 to 40 kilos on it. You set up your own tents, you set up your own camps. It was steep. Too steep for me in places. I was cold, I was scared, I was tired. I didn't know what to do. I was pulled from one abyss to the next, trotting along that ridge. At one point, too exhausted to continue, I sat down and completely broke down emotionally. I started crying, wailing. I didn't know where to take the strength to make another step. The lead guy came to me and asked if I wanted to continue. Through the snot, the tears, the weeping, I blurted a yes. I just didn't know how. As my mind, the rational part of me, couldn't provide with an answer, I listened to my heart. I switched off the logic and tuned into my intuition. And it said, get up and go. Get up and go. And I did. On the way down from the summit, I experienced a new type of physical pain, walking overnight through unimaginable blisters. I fully embraced that too. I got so beaten up by Mother Nature and physical demands of the expedition that I left my ego on the summit. I have never done a technical rock climb in my life, and here it was, the wall. On the way to the wall, the expedition took 4 days longer than anticipated. I was the 17th white person on that path. The path led through cannibal villages. We ate fried rice 3 times a day. We cut our own path. We crawled through mud. We crossed bridgeless rivers. Every day getting soaked in tropical rain, and every morning putting our wet clothes and boots back on. I had over 50 bed bug bites all over my body, and I lost 9 kilos in 3 weeks. We met amazing people who had nothing, even compared to the content of my backpack, and were absolutely, truly happy. Before they greeted us, they would put their hands on heart and then shake our hand as a sign of honesty and pure intentions. On the summit, the weather turned on us to wintry conditions. Rappelling down was a pure survival through freezing rain and rivers and waterfalls. The hands got stiff from cold, and it was very difficult to manipulate the equipment and the ropes. The experience was so deeply profound that wilderness, remoteness, somebody's helping hand, being dirty and hungry, and coming back home have a completely new meaning to me. It is a matter of mindset that every one of you can adopt consciously now to face next day with optimism and can-do attitude. On my return, happy that the cannibals didn't eat me for supper and that I have survived my first serious hypothermia, I learned that Lehman Brothers had collapsed and the world was entering a deep recession. Redundancies swept the city where I work. The experience of Carstensz gave me a new perspective. What we do at work is not deadly. Our family conflicts are not likely to cause hypothermia. The problems which we think we face are not real difficulties. It is us who make them insurmountable. Antarctica. I had to wait in a small Chilean town with total strangers for 12 days. We knew every cafe, every street, every restaurant, every shop, and every penguin. We even visited a cemetery as a local attraction. Before that trip, I would be refurbishing both bathrooms in my house at the same time. I would be hurrying the coffee machine in the office. I would be putting to-do's list for everybody around me. I was the most impatient person you would ever meet. 12 days of wait. What a wonderful way to learn to let go. Antarctica, tranquilizing space. A place of outstanding natural beauty. The coldest place on Earth. An unforgiving environment where there is no life, no color, no smell, no noise. It feels like being on a different planet. If you don't have the courage to stop everybody on the rope and say, I need help when you are getting cold, it might cost you a finger, an ear, or your life. You have to be absolutely true to yourself at any point of time and fully alert to succeed. There is no room even for white lies. Power, money, love, and fear corrupt characters. Indulging in them, you get complacent and too comfortable. Antarctica was for me character corruption prevention event. I know what I stand for. I have created a strong system of core values. I know what I will not conform with. I know what I will not compromise. And I'm not talking about the integrity of in front of the others. That's easy. I'm talking about the integrity of your thoughts and intentions when you are on your own. I'm talking about knowing yourself exactly as you are and always being true to yourself. I didn't make the decision to attempt Mount Everest until 14 months before I went. I was simply scared. I decided to get fit first. So I trained and trained. In fact, I trained 24 hours a week for 12 consecutive months. The day came. I needed 5 small bags to safely climb Mount Everest. How much unnecessary clutter do we correct throughout life? Physical, emotional, and otherwise. Off I went again. More bed bugs. I had over 30 bites by base camp. All of them turned into pussy, itchy blisters. I got a cold, which developed into tonsillitis. I had my period and shared a tent with a guy and camped on snow. I had hemorrhoids and a belly button infection. The day before the summit attempt, I got a very severe food poisoning and passed out from vomiting. On the climb up to the summit, bacteria from the leather part of oxygen mask started eating into my cheeks, got into my eyes, and I lost peripheral vision for 12 hours. I got peripheral edema. On the way down from the summit, the vertebrae in my upper spine locked up, and I couldn't really move my arms. Silent celebration of success. On Mount Everest, being in the grips of the elements and my own pain, I learned not only to appreciate, but also to enjoy vulnerability. The more I made myself available to existence, the more existence was available to me. I learned that getting to the summit is just the beginning of the real work, where you have to stay fully alert all the time, like in the death zone. On my return, everybody around me congratulated me this enormous, fantastic thing I have just achieved. That puzzled me to no end. What great, enormous thing. From my perspective, I just took millions of small steps. I am here because I strongly believe that those experiences and ideas are worth sharing. Thank you very much for listening.